Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole Laino. Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, everybody. I'm your host, Nicole Laino, and we are here for another installment of our center series today. So we are diving into all of the 9 centers in the human design body graph, and we're doing that together over a series of obviously 9 episodes where we're going to be diving into each of the centers and going through the themes of what they are. Centers are at the center of your design. Centers are what give us our definition. So centers are ultimately what tell us what are generators and projectors. It's the definition in our design that ultimately lets us know what our specialties are, what our unique gifts are. The centers are 9 energy hubs that tell us the energy that you transmit most strongly, what you receive, where you might be most conditioned or most prone to conditioning. Doesn't necessarily mean that you are. You're just more susceptible to it in some of those open areas. And the centers are such a key piece of this because you don't get type without centers. And type is what gives us our strategy. Centers tell us what our authority is. Depending on what centers you have defined or not defined, it's going to tell us what your authority is, what your decision-making mechanism is as far as your unique human design. So without the centers, we don't have a way of understanding the body graph. There is no body graph. There's nothing for the gates to connect to. There's no channels. There's no nothing. The channels don't mean anything without the center that they connect them to. It's what gives the gates their unique flavor. The gates are a subset of the energy of the center that they're a part of. So the gate of skills, gate 16, doesn't mean anything until you realize that it's in the throat center. And it's really the enthusiasm of expressing skills and being able to express skills because it comes from the throat. So we can get really tied up in the gates because there's so many of them. They're much more specific when we speak about them. That's where we're taught that our gifts lie. If you know your Mercury gate, or if you know your Jupiter gate, if you know your Pearl in your Gene Keys Pearl sequence, then you're getting clued into a lot of these gifts and how they might be used in your business, how they might be used in your life, so you can attract more prosperity. We have all of these results that we tie to the gates. But the centers is a huge part of that magic. And if you don't understand the centers, gates probably aren't going to be as useful to you as you would like them to be. Because living by your design and making sure you're not conditioned and being pulled off your path through your conditioning, which happens through your openness, which happens a lot through those open centers. If you're getting pulled off course through your openness, then it's going to be very difficult for you to be in alignment and use those gifts that you're studying so hard to understand. So I put together this little series where we're going to dive into each of the 9 centers over 9 episodes, and they will be on the Wednesday episodes of this show. So be on the lookout for all of them. We've already done 2 already. We've done the root center, we've done the solar plexus, and today we are diving into the sacral center, which is the main motor of the body graph. Before I get started, I do want to call out that if you're loving this series, and you are loving this line of human design, of the way that we're talking about this and diving into some of those core aspects, and you're interested in living by your design, we are actually going to be doing a program on embodying your design. The details are still being worked out. We will be releasing those in about a week's time. But if you would like to get on the wait list, because this is going to be like nothing I've ever done before, this is going to be someplace where you'll be working with me. We'll be inside the program. There'll be a lot for you to be doing and experimenting with. It'll be over a short period of time, so you're not committed to something for a year or something like that. We were asked to produce something that was shorter, that maybe had a big bang in a shorter period of time, but still delivered on results. And I think that we've put that together for you. We're very excited about it over here at Unshakable headquarters, and we'll be delivering that very soon. So if you'd like to get on the wait list for that, just DM me the words embody waitlist over on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino official, and we will send you the link to get onto the waitlist. We'll add you to that. And you can go to nicolelaino.com/embody waitlist. And you can sign up on the website as well to be part of the waitlist there. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's talk about the sacral center. Like I said, it is the main motor of the body graph. And let's go beyond just what the center is in a person. Generator energy, that sacral energy, is the energy that we are all feeling. It is the motor of humanity. It's what built the world, is the power that exists in the sacral center. Now, if you have it defined, you're automatically a generator or a manifesting generator. That's there. So the world is literally split into people who have this power in their unique design. They are the transmitters of this energy. They are the sacral energy of the world. And then there's the other half, which we refer to as non-sacral beings, which are the reflectors, the projectors, and the manifestors. So there's this line drawn in the middle of humanity. You either end up on the generator side or the non-sacral side. And the non-sacral side, there's very big differences between the manifestors, the reflectors, and the projectors. Even though they're all non-sacral, such a huge difference in their aura, such a huge difference in the way that they walk through the world. The thing that they have in common is that they are all feeling sacral energy. And we're going to focus today just on that sacral piece. And we're going to talk about it from the standpoint of defined versus undefined. But let's talk about what sacral center energy is. Every center has a theme. Like I said at the start, 9 themes, 9 centers in the body graph, each have a unique energetic theme. The theme of the sacral, the energy that the sacral transmits, the energy that the sacral provides, is life force energy, the energy to work. It is sustainable energy. It is the energy of it's turned on by response and turned off by response. It responds to something, it's really turned on by something, so now the generator is on, it's humming, it's moving, it's going. The key is in the ignition and you turned it. That's how the sacral works. It's also sexual energy. It's a huge part of it. This is where all of the sexual reproductive energy comes from, is from the sacral center. So the sacral center is the most complex of the motors. It is not the most complex center. It has a lot of gates that connect to it. The more gates, the more complex it gets. Because every gate is an expression of that center's theme. So gate 34 is an expression of sacral power. Gate 59 is an expression of sacral sexual energy. It is also the heart and soul of work, of the ability to build and the desire to build. It gets turned on by doing fun things. And fun things to a defined generator, to a defined sacral, are going to be just activities that it enjoys. That could be swimming in a pool, or it could be building out the back end of a funnel system. It could be any of those things. Now, what gets confused is that people feel that undefined anything, undefined sacral, undefined any center, means that you don't have that energy. That's not true. You have it, you just don't have it all the time. Defined equals consistent. It's why generators and manifesting generators have sustainable energy, because it's always available to us. It's not always on, because many generators are working incorrectly, where they're not actually working in response, and they're initiating. So by initiating, they're working without the sacral on. So it's like you have this powerful motor that you forgot to turn it on. So you're wondering why the job is so hard. But it's like I have a car, but I didn't turn the engine on, and I'm wondering why I'm not getting anywhere. So you're pushing the car, and it's like, this is really hard. I'm like, well, yeah, you didn't turn the car on. That's how most generators are going through the world. And when I say generator in this episode, I'm talking about generators and manifesting generators, because we're sacrals. Most people with the sacral defined are not using it properly. And that's why they're burnt out. And that's why they can't finish the jobs that they're doing. And that's why they're confused. And that's why life doesn't feel like it's really working for them. You feel like they're working, they're doing a lot, but they're not getting a lot accomplished. It's a very hallmark of misaligned sacral energy use. But they do have access to it all the time. You just have to turn it on. And it's turned on through response. So that's the defined sacral. It means that the defined sacral will create more and more energy for the things that it is doing that it has said yes to. If the sacral center says, to swimming in the pool, it's going to swim in the pool until the life force for swimming in the pool is gone. Not when the body is necessarily tired. That might be the case. But for the most part, it's, okay, I'm over this right now. Or if there's a project that you enter into, the sacral said yes, you'll find that you are generating more energy to complete that thing. Generators still need rest, still need to tap out. We still need to go and take breaks. If you're a manifesting generator, you're going to need to do multiple things to probably feel really fulfilled and satisfied. But ultimately, life force is there for something or it's not. And that's what the sacral is doing. It's saying, I have energy for this or I do not. And it's always making those choices in people with a defined sacral. It's always available. Now, whether it always wants to do what you're asking it to do is a completely different story. Now we have the undefined. When you have an undefined sacral, it does not mean that you don't have sexual energy. It does not mean that you don't have the ability to work. It doesn't mean that you don't love to do things, and that loving to do things might not drive you at times. If you're a human being, you're going to love stuff. You have life force energy. It's just not coming from you all the time. My husband is a projector, and he gets really into his projects. He is super into them. But I also see how that when he's working on something, how his will, his excitement for it exceeds the energy he has left. So his mind wants him to keep going, because that's the not self of the sacral. Says, just one more thing, just one more minute. I'll just get this other thing done. And that can come from a really good place. I'm excited about this. I want to do it. But that's not the fuel of the non-sacral. The non-sacral fuel is not, I want to do this. I'm having so much fun. You don't generate more energy from that place. Generators, manifesting generators do. Literally, we make more energy, more fuel gets poured in the tank, the more we like doing something. It's just how it is, until our body literally says like, whew, oh man, I am the best kind of exhausted, but so satisfied. That's generator heaven right there. But the non-sacral doesn't have that off switch. That non-sacral doesn't say, oh, it's time. It's time to tap out for a little while. They don't have that. So they go too far. And a lot of times they're running on borrowed energy, because what an undefined center, any center does, is it pulls in that energy from others, from the world, and it amplifies it. So my kid goes to school and he's around a bunch of generator kids, because he's definitely around generators, but he has gate 14, which sits in the sacral. Now, right now, actually today, the sun is in gate 2, which sits on the other side of gate 14. So it completes the channel of the beat, which connects the sacral to the G center. So today, my son has a defined sacral center. So today, he feels like he has a lot more energy. But tomorrow, he won't. He's running on borrowed fuel. So it's not sustainable for him. He can have it for a while, but tomorrow, when it changes into gate 23, at the time I'm recording this, of course, it's not going to be the gate when you're listening to this. But when the sun shifts into gate 23 and gate 2 is no longer in the transit, that definition will go away for him. That will never go away for me, because I have a defined sacral. So I always have that energy. I always have that power. I always have the ability to work. My son needs more rest. My husband needs more rest. And the downfall of the undefined sacral is to not know when that time is, to not know when you've crossed over the threshold of sprinting, which is how you're meant to work, in spurts and then rest. And most non-sacrals are overdoing it by default. They're overdoing it pretty consistently, and they're tired and they're run down and they get really beat up by that. It's like a lack of sleep. The more you overwork and don't give yourself the chance to rest, then the more that accumulates and compounds over time. So one day you might be okay. The second day you continue on that same path. And the third day you do it again. And the fourth day you do it again. And now you're burned out. And now you have a lot more work to do to rest and recuperate. Then generators, this is what we're built for, to run the motor out every single day. You're not if you have an undefined sacral. So it's not to your benefit to do that. It's not to anyone's benefit that you do that, because that's not what you're here to do. That's not how you're here to operate. But you pull in all of that sacral energy from others and you think it's yours, and that's not what it is. It's not your energy. You can use it for a bit, but you need to be taking more regular rest as a non-sacral. You need to schedule it if you need to do that in the beginning to get used to it. And I always say, experimenting is the game here. So you don't have to experiment with taking whole days off to rest. You can experiment with taking short periods off regularly and seeing how you feel and seeing the effect that it has. Because it's not just about your energy, it's about the quality of the energy that you transmit. When projectors, manifestors, reflectors are drained, you don't send out the signal that you are meant to send out. So that is the difference between defined and undefined sacrals. 70% of the world have a defined sacral. So recognize that if you have an undefined sacral, if that sacral center is white on your human design chart, then you are in the minority, which actually makes you very special. So don't think about this as a hindrance. You got to learn a different way to work. You got to recognize that you're pulling in all of that energy, all of that sexual energy, all of that work energy, all of that life force energy. Now that might feel really great. That might feel really overwhelming at times. You might be really into sex, or you might want nothing to do with it. It all depends on your relationship with that openness. You have to get really good at understanding what you're feeling. Is it yours? Is it not? You amplify the energy that you pull in. So how do you deal with that? And are you pushing yourself to the breaking point where it's causing serious harm to you? So this is how, when we start to work with these energies, it can get, I'm breaking it down into the 9 centers here into each of these episodes, because breaking things apart into its parts can help us see how the whole thing fits together, how the energetic blueprint starts to work. Now, if you have an undefined sacral, that's one piece, but there are all the other pieces. There are the other centers that you have defined or you undefined. If you are a manifester, it's going to be a very different game for you than it is for a projector. Learning to work with that is huge. It's everything. That's what's going to change your life. That's what's going to change the way that you feel, what you do, how you do it, and the way that people interact with you. If you're not getting what you want in life, if you are not attracting the type of clients that you want to attract, if you aren't moving through life with very little to no resistance, and you feel like you're facing headwinds all the time, then there's something that needs to shift. And human design can show you that. This was one piece of it, but there's all these other pieces that fit together that tell you what your recipe is, as my friend Christina Luna puts it, and I love that. What is your recipe? What is your unique blueprint that you are operating under? What is your code? Because that's what we're talking about here. These are the codes that we are born with that tell us how we operate in this greater program of this matrix that we're all living in. We are all living in this program of the stars, the planets, everything that we feel. That eclipse energy that everybody talked about for months and months and months. For some reason, we think about that program when there's big events that happen, but then we forget or conveniently overlook it or dismiss it. That's happening all the time on sometimes not even smaller scales. It's just not stuff that everybody's writing about. they're not talking about the shift into gate 2 on the Today Show. They're talking about the solar eclipse, though. So everybody's really tuned into that and all the energetic shifts and what we can feel there. But if you have a gate 14 and you're an undefined sacral and you have a hanging gate 14 and gate 2 comes into and the sun comes into gate 2, you suddenly have a defined sacral. That's the program at work. My kid has been tired and burnt out like crazy the last week. And I know because he's been running hard and then he crashes. And I'm like, he doesn't know how to work with this energy. He doesn't know. And I've been trying to get him to rest more and he doesn't want to. So working with that has been a challenge, but we're all under the program. So these pieces tell you what your recipe looks like, what your whole blueprint looks like. And the blueprint are the codes to how you operate under this program. How can you learn to operate without resistance in this life and start to draw the things that are meant for you to you on a regular basis so that you're living in alignment with your ultimate purpose here in this life? So if you're interested in that, join the Embody waitlist. DM me Embody waitlist on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino official, or go to NicoleLaino.com/embody waitlist. And we'll put you on the waitlist for this new program that we're putting together, all about basically becoming unshakable. That whole piece of my pillar of becoming the unshakable you, that is what we are doing in this program. So more details will be coming on that, but join the waitlist so you get special pricing that will only be available to those early birds on the waitlist. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you liked this. I hope you loved this series. I hope you liked this episode. Remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you in becoming unshakable with human design, everyone. We will see you next time.
If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to NicoleLaino.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.